Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Anti-Social Planet, and today we're watching episodes 196 and 197 of Bleach. So last episode we had a couple of cool things happening. The one big one, we got to see Nell's release form, which I thought was really cool. She had the whole like centaur thing going on with the like lance, which is really cool. I like all of the like knight imagery along with that kind of mythological imagery of the centaur. And of course getting to just see her fighting style. I'm still kind of trying to fit this new image of Nell into my brain after spending so much time with her as like a small child. And of course we got to see some backstory, so we got to learn a little bit about who she is as like an Espada or former Espada, and we also got to learn more about Noitra and kind of his motive or lack thereof. He's still a little bit I don't know if he like doesn't have a great purpose, if he's like still kind of clinging to that like instinct, as Nell put it, like the difference between having a reason to fight and then having an instinct to fight. So I don't know if he is just in that side of things where it's like an instinct thing, like left over from being a hollow or left over from when he was human, because we know that hollows come from human souls, so there might have been something connected to that, and he just kind of sticks to that instinct because it's easier, simpler, because he doesn't see a reason to dig deeper into that. Still kind of trying to figure out exactly where he fits in this whole thing, and also his like brief partnership between him and pink-haired Espada, like the fact that they kind of worked together to get Nell out. I think partly because Noitra used to be number 8 Espada, which we know pink hair is now, so I assume that they were like trying to get up the ranks, so that's part of the reason they wanted to get rid of Nell. Of course, there was the line where Noitra said he didn't want a woman to be stronger than him, which is just something I'm not even going to touch because I mean, it's not worth my time. And so we got to see kind of how Nell got kicked out, some backstory on Donachaka and Heshe, of kind of their more human forms that they had before they got like their masks ripped off and all that kind of stuff. So there is some interesting things I think gonna happen with them, where we're really gonna see like a bit more of what they're like as fighters. They've been really comedic characters up to this point, and I like the idea of expanding on who they are. And like I think some of the ridiculous nature they have was just like who they are, but I think also a big part of it was them trying to keep as much of Nell's past away from her because she lost her memories. They didn't want her to like remember things, so I think it's a little bit exaggerated. So I'm looking forward to see some of what they're capable of. We got Blah Blah back, which I'm very excited about because I love Blah Blah. And of course we have the fight with Pink Hair Espada not going great. You know, we've got, well, 5 if we're counting Blah Blah against 1, and it doesn't seem to be working very well. So that is a little bit worrisome. We also have one of the other Espada who we don't know the rank of, or the name, I don't believe, who is with Arukia, which is also worrisome because we haven't seen her in a while, and last time we saw her, she got impaled. So that makes me nervous. We also saw the like group of the masked people that were going around and like killing Arrancar and stuff, who are with Sado and the little 3-digit like ex-Espada that he was fighting. So that also freaking me out. And of course we had Ichigo just being completely wrecked by Tesla, just thrown around. His arm got broken. He's already not doing great because he used up a lot of strength already to fight Grimjo. Things not looking good all round for our Ichigo team. Looking a bit stark, which is when the most exciting thing happened, which is Kenpachi showing up, being a part of the fight, I am so excited for some of the Soul Society characters to get involved in this plotline. And I knew it was gonna be Kenpachi. I was like, anybody's gonna show up to pick up the Espada, it's gonna be him. So I am so excited to get into this episode, see who decided to come along to fight the Espada and help Ichigo and his friends out. So let's get into episode 196. In 3, 2, 1, go. There you go. I always sit so far back. Oh, I'm so excited that Kabachi's here. And like other Soul Society people showing up. I'm excited to see who all ends up being part of it. I saw in the preview that we're gonna see a little bit of Byakuya. So there's some captains showing up to bail everyone out. I wonder if Tosen's friend, the other captain, will show up. Because we're gonna have to deal with that eventually. Like, he's gonna have to go up against Tosen at some point. For the, like, closure of it. Mm-hmm. But she went back to her tiny form. Used up too much of her power. He deserves it. I have like no empathy for him. Very anticlimactic. And very poor timing. Just unnecessary. Oof. I just I forgot that they always show the like most heartbreaking part again. Just to torture me. But then amazing entrance. Ugh, I'm so excited. Ooh, aren't those the symbols of some of the squads that they have like on the lieutenants have on the badges that they have? Of course he showed up. What are we doing? Does he know how powerful he is? Because he looks a little freaked out. Ooh. No way. Ugh. I Never thought if you had asked me all the way back in Soul Society if I would be so happy to see Kamachi. But I'm so happy. It's no fun when you're fighting an opponent that has a chance of beating you, is it? Ooh, I was gonna say, so you're getting him out of the way. Ooh, the guitars have started the music. Really? Interesting that Urahara is working with Soul Society in some capacity. Because I'm still not quite sure why he ended up, like, basically getting banned. Who is it? Who all showed up? I'm so excited. Hello! I like her. From Flood 4, the healer. She seems very, like, chill, but I feel like there's a lot more going on with her. Big Brother showed up. I'm excited to see uh, Byakuya fight again, because I do really like his fighting style. No. Oh no. I have so many mixed feelings about Mayuri being there, but some pretty intense fighters showing up though. Soul Society not pulling their punches like I thought they might. The epic music though, it just feels victorious, even though they haven't properly fought yet. I'm so excited for all of these fights that are gonna happen. It's been a while since we've seen Mayuri actually, since he got liquefied. But he's gonna beat that guy up. But she will. It's good that we've got some healers though. I appreciate that. Given the condition of some of the people. The meeting of the mad scientists. I don't know how to feel about how this all of the uncomfortable energy in one place. It'd be interesting to see them, fight though. See, he looks really calm, but I think he's about to just go off on this guy. I don't believe for a second that Byakuya doesn't have a bit of a temper when it comes to people he feels some amount of loyalty to. You should stay out of it, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Because Kapechi has to be able to like go all out without having to be worried about his surroundings as much. Because we know he cares. He might not do it in the most conventional way, but he does. It's interesting that some of the like these two have like similar ideals in that they both really like to fight kind of for the sake of it. Like they're just it's instinctual for them to fight with really powerful people, and then we have like pink hair and Mayuri fighting who like have like a similar kind of way of fighting too. Interesting that he just left though. Yes, heal my boy. Okay, you can kill you could heal that Afro guy too, but mostly Seto. Ooh, awkward between Mayuri and Ishida though. Never synced. At least he's aware though. Oh god. These two fighting each other just that'll be an interesting fight. I don't know what this other Spada's like powers are yet, so we'll have to wait and see what his styles. Ooh, there's more than one. Probably for as long as he physically can. Probably one of the few people that just would not be unsettled by Mayuri. Oh, Ishida's just like going through it, isn't he? His stomach is still messed up. He has to see Mayuri again. He has to put up with Heshe and Donachaka. Just a mess. He looks unimpressed though. Hmm. I don't know if I would be that confident. Byakuya. I don't know if he's shown you everything he's capable of, but ooh, Byakuya's no pushover though. Ooh, good transition though, right there. Just to appreciate some animation and storytelling right there. They both have an eye patch too. Just thinking. But like they both have a similar philosophy for fighting, and they both have an eye patch. I think he'll be okay. Good to know. But doesn't like Mayuri have like different modifications he's made to his physical body? I feel like he probably doesn't work the way that normal humans do. Ain't no pushover. Look at Yoroichi being a good influence for once. Okay, but Aizen must know they're all there, right? Be interested to kind of see how he's reacting to everything, to them showing up. Not that I think that Aizen would be super phased, but just to kind of see him have to, like, did he plan for it? Probably. I'm so excited. It's like getting interesting again. I don't think the Espada quite know what's about to come their way. I'm just so glad that there's backup. And interesting that Urahara was involved. Because I still don't really know fully his story. Is Ishin part of it too? Just asking, because last time we saw Ishin, it was like Urahara, Ishin, and Ishida's dad that were all kind of conferring about what was going on. Preview, please. Uh-oh. Are they doing something to Haruki in the next episode? Somebody? Is that his name?
There's some really interesting matchups that are going on with the different like captains that are fighting different people. I really like the one that is Kampachi and Noitoro of them fighting each other because it really does feel like they have very similar ideals or like reasons for fighting. They're both like really into fighting like for the sake of fighting, for the sake of getting stronger, for progressing as fighters. So I like pairing those two with each other to kind of like see two people who like legitimately just enjoy fighting it out. And I'm not really sure in terms of power set how they'll play off of each other because I know that Kampachi is like really strong, but I don't really know how that measure ups to Noitara. It seems like they'll probably have a pretty good match, but then I think of, okay, Noitara hasn't used his like released form yet, and Kampachi like doesn't really know how to use his Zanpakuto though in like the way that most Soul Reapers do. I mean, he could take his eye patch off and that would like change things up a little bit, but I'll be interested to kind of see how that plays out in terms of just like power ability. And then of course we have uh pink hair and Mayuri fighting against each other too, which are like two very similar characters that like we've talked about in previous ones, and I feel like you guys might have been like keying me up for these two ending up having to fight each other because I got lots of questions about how I would feel about them like meeting each other. So having those two fighting each other, while it does make me incredibly uncomfortable, and generally, I think it's an interesting thing to have two characters again that are very similar to each other. Like they both have very similar ideals, very similar ways of like looking at other people. And so it's an interesting matchup for those two. And again, I'm not sure where ability is really going to come into things, like in terms of who is more powerful, who is most likely to win out in the fight. I want to say Mayuri will like finally put an end to them fighting this Espada because again, it's been like five of them trying to fight him and it just not working. So hopefully someone can bring some kind of conclusion to fighting this Espada. And then of course we have Byakuya versus this other Espada. I'm not sure what his rank is, but they both seem fairly evenly matched, at least right now, in terms of power. It'll be cool to kind of see how that fight escalates, especially since we're kind of getting something that's a little bit more personal from Byakuya, which I feel like we haven't so much up to this point. He likes to be very disconnected from fighting because he's very much like, follow like the laws set before him, follow like what Soul Society's rules are, and that's kind of been shifted since we last saw him fight. So it'll be interesting to kind of see something that's a little bit more emotional. Like obviously not super emotional because it's Byakuya, but you can definitely see a different kind of focus on his face when it comes to Rukia and protecting her. So lots of really interesting fights kind of pairing off. We also have the captain and lieutenant from Squad 4 who are healers that are finally going to help my poor Sado. It's just, I need him to be okay. Hopefully we'll get someone to come and help Rukia as well, who is with Byakuya. I don't know exactly how that'll work out or how Aizen is reacting to these captains showing up. I'm sure that he has some idea that they would be showing up, but I don't know if like Gein's gonna get involved, Tosin's gonna get involved. There's still a couple of Espada who are like not in the fight quite yet, so I feel like we're gonna get some cool action scenes coming up. So let's get into episode 197 in 3, 2, 1, go. I already have Totoro because I know that this is gonna be, we're gonna be getting into some intense stuff with a higher level fighter showing up. Which I'm really just excited to see because like we haven't seen Kenpachi, uh Byakuya or Mayuri or I can't remember her name, the captain from Squad 4. We haven't seen them since Soul Society arc, I don't think, except for like we saw a little bit of Byakuya um when uh like he came to get uh or like we saw him a little bit when they were talking about Renji and Rukia showing up in Hueco Mundo, like he helped them with that, I think. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Yes. kick in fights with the already weakened people. A little bit different for him to go up against Kenpachi, who's like a force to be reckoned with in and of himself, but also like a fresh fighter. Just here to have a good time. I love how Kenpachi's like just here to pick fights and have some fun. There's something to be said for like the purity of his motives. Hmm. I want to know more about this too of um, Urahara working with Soul Society because we know he got kicked out. Well, like that he left, but then he's also like banned. Like he physically couldn't get back to Soul Society, which we saw when he like made the like gate thing for them to go. So I think it's interesting that he's like in contact with them. I just feel like there's a lot to like Urahara's story that like I've barely like scratched the surface of yet. And I think you guys told me some of it isn't even in the anime yet. Like it's gonna be in the new stuff that comes out. Yes, Mayuri is also here. I don't know who I want to win in that fight. Because I'm like, Mayuri makes me super uncomfortable, but he's technically on the good guy's side. Like, I want him to help, like, Ishida and Renji, but I also don't know how to feel about him winning any kind of fight. I wonder what rank this guy is. It's cool. Byakuya is not any pushover. I don't know. Like, for me anyway, like, I just have complete confidence in Byakuya in this fight, and I don't know why. I'm just like, I think he'll win. Was that my boy? Hanatara! Oh, sweetie, you do not belong here. This Huecomundo is too cutthroat for you. I'm very, I'm very excited to see you, but oh, you're not. This is not the place you should be. I'm very worried for you. But I'm assuming he's in the same part as Byakuya and Rukia. I'm excited that a healer is gonna be at least somewhere near Rukia. I'm nervous about him being like near people who are actively going to try and kill him though. Are we getting a release form? He seems unimpressed. Byakuya is like, uh, excuse me? What's with all the goo? Because pink hair has like the goo minion, the clone things. Those are a few eyes. What happened? Ooh, that that reminds me of Suifeng's attack. I'm assuming it's not the same thing because Arrancar are different from Soul Reapers, but they both have that like mark that they put on people. Okay, so it's not like Suifeng's was like um it like if she hit the same target twice, it like exponentially amplified her attack power. Whereas this one seems to be about controlling people, like marionette style, which is kind of similar to Pink Hair's power too, because he like has the dolls where he like uses those to manipulate people. Ooh, I understand why you did that, but I still worry for you. Like that hurts. Like, I mean, I wouldn't know. Obviously, I've never been in a situation, but like, ugh. Uh-oh. Now Byakuya is like getting a bit more intense. Oh, not Toro. Not the time, honey. This world is too harsh for him. Yeah, you should stay as far back as possible. Ooh, especially if Byakuya is about to get serious. Yeah, he seems a little bit pissed off. Like just a tad. That someone was threatening Arukia. Yes, heal my boy! And the other one. Mostly Sato. Hmm. Especially since Aizen definitely knows that they're there. Like, I wonder how much of it he planned for and how much of it is just him kind of like observing with interest from a distance. See, I'm curious because Noitara hasn't used his release yet. Look at Campeche just having a good time. Noitara is like a bit of a, I don't know, not necessarily a distance fighter, but um, like a little bit of distance because he tends to use the chain on his weapon to give him more distance. Yeah, saw that coming. Yes, somebody heal her. I mean, it might impair his ability to use like his bankai, right? Because he said he was better at controlling it if he was like actually using his arms, right? The trash talk, though. Which means there's another mark. No. Uh-oh. But he won't be able to fight her either, because he won't want to hurt her. Oh, that's right. He does the thing that where he can like bind people on spot. He did that to Renji. I always kind of forget that that's an ability because Ichigo doesn't use it. Like he doesn't use anything except like his Zanpakuto. Oh, here we go. Because now you really made him angry. He seems a little bit desperate, which is never a good thing because when you're desperate, it means you make mistakes and you're kind of a little too impulsive. Yeah, there's too many. You'll have to just hope that you make it through. It's not gonna work, but points for trying, I guess. Ooh, not holding back on this one, is he? Okay, someone noticed that. I want to make a prediction. I think that the Spada that Byakuya is fighting against is number 7. Because that's the one we haven't seen that's like besides the top 3. And I feel like we wouldn't be dealing with the top 3 yet. Like, I feel like because we haven't dealt with Noitara and we haven't dealt with Ulquiorra, who's like still been teleported away and has to find his way back, uh, that this one's 7. Because if he's part of the top 3, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. Because it's not that, I don't know, compared to like Ulquiorra and like the brief moment where we got to see him sort of fight, he just kind of threw Ichigo around. But it was definitely cooler than this guy's power set. So that's my prediction. Oh, he's still kicking though. I'd be interested to see how Mayuri deals with being controlled by a doll thing. Because his body isn't entirely like normal. He keeps experimenting on it. Why are we dressed like a kitty? Byakuya sees all. Yeah, wow. I usually have an idea when I get to the end of an episode of something specific I want to talk about. And this time my brain is just like, it was cool. I mean, okay, I feel like part of the reason is that it was a it was slow. Is that fair to say? It was like there's not like a ton of stuff happening. We got to see like how this particular Espada's powers worked. You know, got to see his released form and you know a lot of like him and Byakuya fighting about like who's stronger, whether they're like equal or whatever. Didn't feel like a big epic fight, which is why I'm kind of like, if he is one of the top 3 Espada, I'll be very disappointed. But also, it looks like the fight isn't over yet. So even though Byakuya used his Bankai, it wasn't quite enough. We're gonna see some of that in the next episode. But I don't know. I feel like this was more about like Byakuya and kind of like, the fact that he very much sees himself like as superior, not based on like strength necessarily, but I think like he's very separate, or he sees himself as very separate from hollows of any form, and he very much like I think bases that more on like ideals, because we know that ideals and like laws and rules and like morality and stuff is like important to who Byakuya is, to the point of like, he makes a promise and he sticks to it. And that was like part of his conflict in Soul Society, was that he had made these 2 promises that, in that moment were contrary to each other. Like he couldn't fulfill both of them and it was like messing him up. So I think to him it's more about having those ideals, having those personal moral based rules for himself is like what really makes him superior. And like that's kind of I think what he was getting at when he was like, even with one of my legs not being usable, even with one of my arms that I can't use, our strength is never going to be equal. We're never going to be equals, because it isn't about strength. It's about like having moral philosophies, having ideals. Like that's what's really important, as opposed to just brute strength, which I think is an interesting contrast, given that we've seen like a little bit of like Kampachi in Noitara's fight, which is really just about like who has the more raw strength in that fight. So like I feel like the main thing that I took away from this was like appreciation for just like the diversity of the characters in the Soul Society. Like not everyone has like the same philosophies, the same reasons for fighting, the same outlook of like what being a Soul Reaper is and like what their job is and stuff like that. That we kind of get to see these different dynamics. Like even though they're all captains, even though they're all part of the Soul Society, they all have very different ways of like seeing what their job is, like seeing why doing their job is important. We of course saw Sado getting healed, which I'm so happy for. I like knowing that he's safe. And we also got to see Hanatara again, and I'm so happy to see my cute little boy, but I'm worried because Rukia, I mean, puppet Rukia, cut him a little bit. And I'm very worried about that. I'm worried about that because I love Hanataro and I want him to be okay. But also, he was there to heal Rukia, and if he can't do that, then we're gonna have an issue. Unless, like, the captain and lieutenant from Squad 4 come and help. But I also don't want them to, like, abandon Sado. I'm very conflicted about who I want to get saved at this point. If you enjoyed that video, you can click this playlist to go and see the previous episodes I've watched in this arc, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!